I feel like I should just drop the mic and walk off stage now. Illuminati in the house. I don't typically lean as much into that as I am here, but thank you all for having me. Really honored to be here, and really excited to be joining the Solana ecosystem. So today I'm going to talk about real-world assets. We all have spent a lot of time talking about real-world assets. A lot has been announced today, a lot of really great projects on stage before me, so I won't spend too much time on the what. Ultimately, though, we're looking at it as not just a way to tokenize and bring these funds on-chain, but a fundamental way to improve how you create, how you manage, and how you distribute assets on-chain. We're creating a more efficient financial structure that can ultimately 10x financial services. Centrifuge was very early. We were founded in 2017, and we believed in this vision. So over the past many years, we've been focused on counting a number of firsts. The first stablecoin that was minted with a real-world asset, with MakerDAO. The first RWA lending market with Aave back in 2021. The first on-chain fund with Block Tower Credit. And over the years, we've created a sophistication and a legitimacy around the space that comes with token standards, comes with better legal frameworks, and comes with institutional trust and respect and readiness for the space. But that only got us so far. We really hit a ceiling where going beyond the initial adoption of the products hasn't really been possible. So the tailwinds we faced primarily fell into what are the critical infrastructure pieces that are in place that we need? How do we create the right service providers? How do we create the interoperability providers, the oracles, the key pieces that can enable these RWAs to operate and work effectively on-chain? How do we find a supply and demand balance where a lot of the early assets that were tokenized that came on-chain, there were higher yields but higher duration, which doesn't really work in DeFi. Or there were instant redemption and lower duration but lower yields, which isn't really interested in DeFi either. And then finally, what happens after you tokenize these assets? So it's not just about tokenizing an asset and bringing it on-chain, but how do you create utility and liquidity, and how do you actually make those useful and create a more novel process that isn't possible off-chain? So we believe that now we're entering the era of DeFi and RWA 2.0. This time it's different. There's real demand-side drivers. So a lot of the growth in RWAs recently has been correlated to the growth in stablecoins, where there's 250 billion in stablecoins, and a lot of those stablecoin providers, they don't want to manage a fund. They want to work with a tokenization platform to manage those reserve assets for them. There's 116 billion in DeFi protocols where there's potential and opportunity to bring those RWAs as collateral assets to also enable RWA yields on top of the additional utility. On the supply side, we're seeing incredible traction with folks like BlackRock entering the space and Larry Fone picking up the microphone talking about real-world assets. We're seeing Apollo and Janice Henderson and a lot of incredible asset managers who are really moving into tokenization and bringing their flagship products with them. On the regulatory side, we have tailwinds, we have innovation, we have progress that we're starting to see a lot of this clarity of what regulatory support we have for bringing this innovation back onshore. And then finally, as we start to think about DeFi utility, there's an opportunity to start to enable more creative structures on-chain where there can be more utility and liquidity for these assets. So that's what I'll spend a bit of time talking about right now. Typically, there's been two sides of the world. There's the permissionless side, which we all know and love from DeFi and crypto, and you can be anonymous and you can move quickly and it all happens in real time, and that's what our industry was built on. And then there's the permission side, and that's what's needed for these asset managers to get comfortable with tokenizing and distributing and interacting with the on-chain primitive. And often there's a conflict between them. They don't work together. So on the permissionless side, that's where we can act in real time, and that's when we can operate at the speed of crypto. On the permissioned side, you can tokenize your asset, you can have a great onboarding process, but then what? So what we're really excited to push forward as an industry and as Centrifuge is what we're calling permissioned light. So it's an in-between of these, where there is a freely transferable wrapper of these products where you're able to take RWAs and you're able to integrate them into DeFi. So you can create secondary markets and lending and use them as collateral assets, create instant redemption facilities, and bring RWA yields into the crypto environment to create a lot of great utility that we've been looking for and searching for the industry just generally. We believe that this is the perfect combination where you can have a regulated and compliant fund structure that these asset managers need, and a lot of the institutional investors we're seeing, they need as well, but then you can pair that with a freely transferable product that is broadly accessible across DeFi, where you can get all these really interesting lending markets and DeFi protocols involved. You can get retail access to these products, and you can have this perfect combination where you have the regulated structure that's required and you have the DeFi composability that's needed. Today, we're very excited to announce the launch of Centrifuge on Solana. We are bringing, woo, Solana! The Illuminati's on Solana. We're bringing our DRWA token. So this is our freely transferable security token, which enables incredible utility across the DeFi ecosystem. And we're excited that from day one, we're partnering with a lot of the key protocols that are driving the DeFi ecosystem on Solana. We're partnered with Radium for trading, Camino for borrow and lending, Lulo for saving products. We're powered by Wormhole, and we're working with Pith. So we're really focused on how do we integrate with all the key players who are driving the Solana ecosystem forward. And we're really excited to be part of this community now. So here we are purpose building for Solana. We're really excited to be here, and we believe that it's not just about tokenizing assets, it's about creating an ecosystem around these assets for more institutional DeFi. Thank you.